Welcome to Boss Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Elena Banks, and I am joined with the lovely, super talented Kim Smedley.
Oh, you got it right.
I'm smart.
Yes, you are.
Very smart. I just play dumb. How are you doing out there in the world? Welcome. It's Tuesday. We're going to have a great show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited already because your energy is just amazing.
Thank you. I
Yes.
love when people say that.
Yeah,
And
it's
yours
good.
too. And your face
Well,
is
thank
beat. I just look at them eyes because I'm trying to figure out them colors.
Really?
She did it. First of all, if y'all can't see her makeup, come on in here so they can see you on IG.
Let me see.
She has some amazing makeup going on right now.
You know what's so funny? I normally don't do color. And so when my makeup
Stay in the
artist,
camera.
when he came over today, I was like, yeah, you can do something different. So I allowed him to play with a little bit of color. So I'm hoping that it's working for me.
It is.
It
It's
is?
some pretty colors. I
Okay,
probably
well,
couldn't do
thank you.
that. It would probably just be super dark, but that's gorgeous. That's very nice. So you got so much going on. I was driving and I was thinking like, oh my God, where am I going to start with this young lady? If you guys saw my Instagram post, that's just a smidget of the things that this woman does. Reading her bio, and I see a lot of bios. Let me just say that. Reading her bio, it was very different. It goes together. It was great. You have accomplished a lot of things, and you're kind of under the radar.
Yeah, for the most part. And that's because most of my life, my adult life, was under the radar because of what I did.
But I say that because that's about to change. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying
Oh,
it.
well, thank you.
That is about to change. So that made me happy to be a part of that because I was like, wow, this woman is so talented. She has accomplished so many things, and she's back on the rise.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's
Yeah.
a story there.
It definitely has been a slow grind. You know what I mean? I came home. Well, you want me to tell my story?
Well, let me just
I'll let you
for
tell
all
my
the people
story. Okay.
that before she gets started, you probably recently seen her on Centric TV's From the Bottom Up, where her story came to life. But as we know, reality TV does not portray everything in its true color. So therefore, I like to have the platform where other people for different shows, reality, can come on and actually give their fans the correct perspective or their response and their thoughts, because sometimes we're not portrayed in the right light or our story is somewhat edited. So therefore here I like to have you to come and just say this is what it is, this is what happened, blah blah blah, because for every wrong there's a right.
Right.
And some people don't understand that. So I'm gonna let her kind of give you a brief summary of how she became who she is and what led her to bring about this great change.
Okay, so let me just start off by saying that I am the only child of a single parent. My mom always made sure I had everything I needed and pretty much most of what I wanted. So I think I say that because I feel like that's what kind of helped me to make some of the wrong decisions that I made in my adulthood. Just being attracted to things and just knowing how to get things, and instead of me using my smartness and going to college or whatever, I chose to take an alternate route. So I went to cosmetology school, graduated, and everything, and got a cosmetology license. And it was during that time that I was working in the cosmetology field that I met this guy. I won't say his name, it's in the book. But anyway, he introduced me to the black market world of the silicone injections. And we worked in the same salon together, and he was a gay guy, and he was very well known in the transgender community for doing the silicone injections. At that time, what people don't realize, this was like in 1998, 1999. It was even unheard of at that time for women to get Brazilian butt lifts. So the women that were getting the injections along with the transgenders would normally get them in the black market world. It was underground. So I learned what he was doing because we were friends. And at that time, I was one of those ones that, I've always been, a cute cute girl.
Yes.
But
yes.
I always had a flat butt. So when I found out what it was that he did, is like I just had to have it. You know, it's like wanting something that you've never had before and just trying to, you know, feel better about yourself. Yeah. Absolutely. So, of course, he provided the service for me, and I started to travel with him. Like, we would go out of town. Like, the major city that he would go to the most was Detroit. Like, the majority of his clientele was there in Detroit. Okay. And so during that time, you know, of us traveling together, I never once administered any injections. I would just sit and watch him, because when he finished working, that's when we would go out and have fun, you know, and tour the city or whatever. But on one occasion, he became ill.
Okay.
And so I'm just, you know, wrapping it up kind of quickly.
No, you're fine. Okay. Take your time.
Okay, so he became ill during one of the trips. And let me just go back and say that there was a period of time that we didn't speak. We were working in the same salon together, and this was after I had received my injections and everything, and we had been friends for like years, but we got into a situation, and we stopped speaking. So probably about 2 or 3 years passed by, and he called me and asked me if I would go out of town with him. And I was kind of pissed off at him still, and I was like, whatever. But something told me, you know, just go.
Right.
You can't stay mad forever. So when I went to his home, we were leaving to go out of town. I went to his house, and I remember it so clearly because he came down the stairs, and when he came down the stairs, I looked and I was like, oh my God, he doesn't even look the same. Now, mind you, we have mutual friends that we all worked in the same salon together, and they had been telling me, listen, you need to go and see him. And I was like, I'm not going to see him, you know, because we were mad at each other. Well, I was still mad. Hell, I don't know if he had gotten over it or whatever, but I wouldn't go and see him. And so when I did see him, I was just like, oh my God, like, what's going on with him? Because he really did look sick. So we went ahead and went to Detroit. When we got there, he had women that were lined up outside of the hotel room waiting for him, because we would go to Detroit often. So therefore, when we would go there, they already had the room reserved for him and everything. So the people would be lined up waiting for him, because they knew that he only came into town with so much, for a short period of time, and he was only coming with so much silicone. So once it was gone, it was gone. So it was like on a first come, first served basis. So he started to work on this particular day, and it was we probably had been there for like 3 hours, and he got really sick. I'm talking about, look, the woman would lay on the table, right? Like a table like this. She would lay on the table on her stomach, and he would inject them while they were laying on their stomach. And this time he was so sick that he was just throwing up in the trash can at the same time that he was, you know, trying to do the injections. So I'll never forget it. He was like, Miss Kim, you gotta help me. And I was like, help you? I was like, I've never, help you do what? Like, I've never even done it before. Been watching. So he was like, I'm gonna have to walk you through it. And still throwing up, and I'm just like panicking, like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? And I got on the phone and I called his lover. And his lover was like, you know, I begged him not to take the trip, but he said he wanted to go one last time. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with him?
Why is it one last time?
Girl, listen, I will tell you this. It was during that time that I learned how to do the silicone injections. It was by trial and error. So blessed that I did not kill anybody on that particular time. It was at that time that I learned to do the injections. But when we got back home, he died 2 days later. He passed away on the 4th of July. We got back from Detroit. We couldn't even stay the full trip. We got there on the 1st, had to come back home on the 2nd, which we were not supposed to leave until the 3rd. And I had to literally push him through the airport in a wheelchair. So when we got back home, he passed 2 days later. and he died from the complications of age. You know, it normally isn't the AIDS that kills you, but it's the complications. So he died from a heart attack. So some months went by, and his lover called me, and he said to me, he was like, listen, out of all the people that we know, he never allowed anyone to travel with him but you. He's like, if you want his business, you can have it. He had the black book and everything. He was like, you know, people have been calling for him, and there's no one to refer them to, so do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Still didn't know exactly what I was doing. And it reminds me so much of these people that have come on the scene now that don't know what they're doing. I can truly say at that time in my life, I was just, I have to tell you, I had to have had a guardian angel watching over me. You know what I mean? Because here I was, I had seen him do it on many occasions, but it's a difference between seeing someone do the injections and me doing them myself. So it was at that time that I just kind of jumped in and started to learn as much as I could. While working on clients, I started researching countries where
they was doing them.
Where they were doing them, and I started going to the Dominican Republic. So I would go to the Dominican Republic and talk to doctors. You know, I would have a translator with me. I would talk to doctors there, and I started to learn a lot of information. And I would say that the 12 years that I did the injections, I never had one client come back and complain about being ill or anything like that. However, as time went on, in 2011, I ended up catching a federal case. Yes, in Baltimore. What happened was there was a young lady that I had been doing work on, and she was also going to visit a transgender in Philadelphia. So we both were doing work on her, and I would always tell her, look, you need to find one person that you're going to let do your butt and just stick with that person. But if I didn't come when she needed something done, she would go somebody else. Yes. So she called me on one particular day, and she said that she wasn't feeling good, that she was sick. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? And she started telling me that she was having shortness of breath. And I was like, well, you need to go to the hospital. Mind you, I've never been the type of person that even if I did something illegal, what would be worse than getting caught would be worse than me killing somebody or someone dying, you know, at the hands of something that I had done. So I told her to go to the hospital, and it was during that time she gave them my name and the transgender's name that was actually doing work on her. At that time, though, he was on the run because he had killed somebody that came from London to have work done. So he was on the run. And it just opened up a big federal investigation. Here's the thing. I never once thought that what I was doing would be considered federal. So I was that person. Every city that I worked in, if it was in Detroit, I had an attorney. If it was in LA, I had an attorney. If it was in Houston, I had an attorney. Every city that I did work in, I always had an attorney. However, this was a federal case. And so I found out as time went on that it wasn't even about the young lady, because when I went to court, she never even came forth to testify. It was more about the money. So, you know, they were going through my bank accounts, seeing all the things that I had bought. You know, they audited my taxes. And so, to make a long story short, I ended up going away to prison for 17 months. And I did 6 months in a federal halfway house here in Atlanta. Okay. So almost 2 years of my life, you know, I lost. But I'm so grateful because maybe if I had continued on that path, then maybe something more serious would have come. Yeah. Right. So I'm grateful.
You are grateful.
To be able to start over, and I consider myself very blessed. You know?
Are. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're doing this for 12 years, not knowing that not your hands is getting you in trouble, but it's more so the business side of it that gets you in trouble.
You know, that's what the feds are about. You know, everything
They
with
want
the feds that has a dollar sign attached to it. It really does. You know, even drug dealers, when they go to jail, they could get caught with 10 keys of coke, but what do they say? The street value is, and so,
Right.
yeah.
And then they always want to look and see when people become known, and I'm pretty sure you became very known, they go digging and seeing your relationship with Uncle Sam.
Yes, they do.
So when there's not a relationship with Uncle Sam, that makes them more prone to really, really go after the person that has reached a certain level of status, because they feel like you out here doing what you're doing, but you're not giving what you're supposed to be giving.
Yes.
And that's crazy.
It is crazy.
And they get so many of us like that.
They do.
So many of us.
So many.
That is amazing. So since you've been out, you wrote this book once you came home, correct?
I wrote the book while I was in prison. God knows I had enough time to sit
very-
and write a book. Honey, I was working out every day, you know, and getting my sleep on, and I wrote the book because I just felt like when I was going through the situation, my attorney would not allow me to say anything. You know, I wanted to defend myself on so many levels. You know, they had it out that I was using paint thinner, that I was using Fix-A-Flat, so many things that were wrong. And I was like, I am not that person. I'm the person that really looked at this as a job, and I felt like I was helping women to feel better about themselves because I know what it did for me. So I wanted to defend myself, and clear my name. So it was while I was in prison, I, you know, took the time and wrote the book.
Now, the book is called The Backside of the Story. My Personal Journey into the Black Market Butt Injection Scandal. Love the photo.
Thank you.
And look at this picture on the back.
Girl, I know.
Come on.
That's Madam Kimberly Smedley on the back
Big
of
booty
that.
phenomenon. Now, this is amazing because, I mean, we still have this, you know, these butt injections, but now fat transfer.
Yes.
So it's like fat transfer took the place of the actual butt injection.
But you know, there's always that woman that's a size 2, 4, or a 6 that does not have any fat. You're so blessed not to have any fat.
Well, I already went. I'm putting my business in the street.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I did.
And the man
too,
told
honey.
me, you ain't got no fat to put nowhere.
So listen,
But you know, they tell people to go gain weight. And I'm not going to put the doctor's name out in the streets, but I actually wanted to inquire about this, and I knew somebody, and he was like, after looking at me, he's like, you have no fat to transfer. We would have to put you on a program to gain weight to transfer.
So you would have been a client.
Yeah.
Straight
And then
off
I
the
was
rip.
like, well, can you just get somebody else fat? And he was like, no. I was trying to come up with every possible solution that this man probably done heard of, because I just didn't want to gain weight. Because the purpose of me is doing this is to get a certain look that I'm trying to acquire, not gain no damn weight.
Right.
But it is true. There's a lot of 2, 4, size 6 women who want just that little nice onion, and they just ain't got it and can't get it.
That's true.
But the thing about it is there's implants. That's where they put the actual...
Yeah, but you know, I ran across clients that would come to me and they had the implants, and it does not fill your butt out completely. So it's like it fills out the top and the middle, but then the bottom part is just
cuff.
left. The cuff is left flat.
But
And
African American women, we're known for the cuff.
Absolutely.
Now you ain't got to have it on the top or the side, but it's just the cuff.
It's
That's
the
what
cuff.
we're known for.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy. But then you have problems with them. Look at Nicki Minaj.
Girl,
Don't
do
know.
you think that was real? I think they
First of all,
photoshopped
there is
that
a picture, but she sat down and you can see that sitting up like that.
I didn't see that picture, but the one with her and Meek Mills, and they were, was it on a boat or
Yeah.
something? Because people have asked me about it. I said, I don't think that's real.
Well, the thing about implants in your breast and implants in your butt is different.
That is so different.
You
'Cause
have a
sit on your
smaller,
butt all the time.
you have a smaller, why am I touching myself? You have a smaller area to put implants where they don't tend to move or shift.
Yes.
However, in your butt, that's got to be a big ass implant to sit in one place. But you're constantly sitting, you're constantly moving. So when you sit down, I could see that being able to be seen
Mm-hmm.
because it's not attached to nothing. Unless you in there attaching an implant to a muscle, when you sit down, I could see that implant would move around.
And it does. It does. And I had women that would come to me and the implants actually became infected. Because think about it, you sit on your butt a lot.
And wouldn't that burst or leak or seep or something?
I never encountered those type of issues, but just them becoming infected, you know, because they tell you to stay off of your butt for a while, but how long can you really stay
Well,
off
I know
of
when
your
you
butt?
do fat transfer or any type of lipo, you can't sit on your butt for a week.
But come on now.
You just gotta lay on your stomach or lay on your side, and that's a hard thing to do.
It is.
Because you gonna want to drive, you gonna want to sit up. That's very, very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's different when you get your boobs because you just in pain and you just sitting still. But that's, I mean, I don't know. I watch and I follow a lot of people on Snapchat and Instagram. A lot of these plastic surgeons, and to me, you know, some of them are good at what they do, but some of them is just too social media based.
Yes.
And I know some of these doctors, they are great. They do amazing work. But I don't want you Snapchatting and Instagramming while you working on me, regardless.
That's right.
Like,
I agree.
I know you're trying to show and build your clientele, but that's why you have before and after pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual video and Snapchat and, you know, doing funny faces and, you know, you can do that in your office. But once you go into that operating room, there should be a level of professionalism and of what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that it just seemed too playful. I need you focused. I need you serious. I don't want you listening to Future and Drake while you working on me. You know what I'm saying?
I
You
agree.
singing along and rapping the words while you sticking this rod in somebody's butt. Like, it's too much.
It is. It's a lot. Social media itself is a lot.
It is, and there's a lot of these doctors out here messing these women up. And I don't know if it's because they're cheaper, but you pay for what you get.
You know, what I've learned is that you have a lot of doctors now that are doing cosmetic procedures and they didn't actually go to school for that. You know, hell, my dermatologist now does cosmetic procedures. I'm like, well, you were a dermatologist and now you're doing Brazilian butt lifts, honey, and lipo, and yeah.
But she didn't go to these get to no training. You just
You know,
you just don't wake up and know how to do
training, but it's so different from
actually
a cosmetic surgeon that went to school for that particular field. You know, it's a whole lot of them out here now, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Now that's who they need to be looking at for, is putting people's lives in danger, because there's so much room for neglect.
Yes.
And just that's crazy. Like, and I tell people, you have to go and make sure this person has been to school for this. You don't want somebody who went to school as a veterinarian but then decided to go start doing plastic surgery. Like, that shit does not go together.
It does not go together.
Or somebody just was doing nails and woke up and decided, oh, you know what, I want to fix people's asses. Like, it's just, it don't go together. Like, it has to kind of make sense. Now, let me ask you a question. So you was gone almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Did you ever think about going back?
Let me tell you something. When I tell